what is the difference between laziness and procrastination? This is a really important question because not everyone who procrastinates is lazy, even though they might have been made out to be that way or been called that by parents or teachers or coworkers or bosses. But there's a really big difference, a really important distinction between laziness and procrastination. Now, in order to understand this, you really need to understand the 3 types of procrastination. So I originally invented the 3 types of procrastination in my first book, Take the Stairs. New York Times bestseller, get you a copy of this book. But I'm gonna give you the highlights here. So the first type of procrastination is called classic procrastination. That's consciously delaying the things we know we should be doing. Really, that's kind of like laziness. It's knowing that I should do something, but saying, I don't feel like doing that, so I'm gonna not do it. But that is not what all procrastination looks like. So there's another type of procrastination, the second type, which we like to call creative avoidance. And creative avoidance looks less like laziness and more like distraction. So creative avoidance is unconsciously creating stuff for yourself to do so that you can do the things that are more safe and more comfortable, but really it's a disguised self-protecting mechanism to prevent you from doing the things you know you should do that you really don't want to do. So in reality, it's a self-sabotaging form of procrastination. You think you're being productive, but really you're not. You're just distracted. And look, I don't know why we do this, but we all do this, right? Like you can be watching a video on YouTube, learning something productive, and then 3 hours later, you're there sitting around on YouTube watching people tie their shoes underwater, right? It's like, I don't know why, we just do that. But the third type of procrastination is priority dilution. And priority dilution can affect people who are chronic overachievers. It can affect the do-gooders, the taskmasters, like the really smart people who you wouldn't think to be procrastinating. And that is because these are people who have so many people vying for their attention and so many urgent priorities that they allow their attention to shift away from the really significant stuff towards the insignificant or trivial things. This person's life looks more like a constant state of interruption, always falling victim to whatever is latest and loudest. But then there are people who procrastinate on purpose, which is the title of my second book. Procrastinating on purpose is a strategic decision. It's an intentional choice to say, I'm deliberately putting off something trivial. I'm deliberately putting off something insignificant. I'm deliberately tabling and waiting on minutia as a strategy and a technique for creating space for myself to focus in on the things that really matter. And that is why some of the richest entrepreneurs in the world, some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world are people who were like C students who have ADHD, but they are masters at figuring out how to create space and to focus on the things that really matter. What most people do is we become addicted to the trivial, the insignificant, and the minutia. And I mean this literally. If you look at a brain under brain scan, anytime we delete an item in our inbox or we cross an item off our to-do list, dopamine is released. This chemical in our brain is released through our body that makes us feel good. So when we complete insignificant things, we get this little hit of dopamine. We feel like we're successful, but in reality, we're just wasting time on things that aren't as valuable as the things we really need to be doing. And some people who are master procrastinators, they have the emotional intelligence and the emotional stability to deliberately put off certain things, even when people are yelling at them and giving them deadlines and pressing them for things, to go, yeah, that might be important to you, but I'm not going to let that be what governs me. I mean, if you think about an inbox, like an email inbox, what is an inbox other than a way to catalog other people's priorities? People sending you things they want you to do. But that's not where you catalog your priorities. That's not where you catalog the things that you should be doing. So in many ways, we have to learn to strategically procrastinate and strategically put off the trivial things and the insignificant things so that we can have more time on the things that are significant or the things that multiply your time, to reference, my viral TED Talk, which you click and you can tune in and check that out. So just because you're procrastinating doesn't necessarily mean you're lazy. And just because someone calls you lazy doesn't necessarily mean that's true. It might mean that you have a natural gift for putting off things that are insignificant and trivial, and that even though your teacher or your spouse or your boss or somebody wants you to do the thing that they want you to do, you have a natural power, a natural strength, a natural ability to say, yeah, I know that you want me to do that, but I am deliberately protecting the things that I want to do and protecting my attention and time for the things that matter to me. Now, if it's your boss, they might fire you, so you need to be aware of that. But if you're an entrepreneur, or you just know that you have this ability, you might be well suited to be your own boss. But don't let anyone convince you that you're lazy if really you're using strategic procrastination.